Milan San Remo's this weekend. I believe you've got a story for us. We can tell it in a minute. There's so much to talk about this week. But I read something about the fella Matteo Jorgenson who won Paris-Nice, the race to the sun, albeit it was a miserable race. In 2021, he pulled out of Paris-Roubaix. He was in the front group. He was doing really well. And then he had a really bad tummy. And do you know what he said it was from?
What?
I love it. See, when riders start winning and then all these fun random stories start coming back out, he said it's because he'd ingested too much cow manure while racing.
I'd believe him.
And that his blood test afterwards showed that there was like animal feces products.
Well, that's just like France and Belgium in every single kermesse. Hello to you, Kate.
Yes, hello to you. Welcome back to the Wheelhouse. But look, you love Paris-Roubaix. We were talking about Paris-Roubaix last week. We will be again soon. There is an iconic photo of you racing Paris-Roubaix covered in mud.
Yep.
So do you have a similar experience?
Well, I reckon I had a similar experience about 40 days a year because when you ride around, and for some history on this, in Holland and Belgium and northern France, they don't use fertiliser. They use the channels of sewage from their cows. They suck it up, put it into this tractor, and then they spray it back onto the grass,
the
which
land.
the cows then eat. And it's just this. And anyway, so they move the cows from paddock to paddock and they shit all over the roads. And of course you're doing 50k an hour and then a little bit of water comes down out of the sky and you flick up straight into your pearly whites and then you have a little bit of a gel and there you go. You've got a little bit more bacteria floating around.
I've never heard a stronger argument for learning how to nose breathe than that. Great agricultural practice.
Oh, God.
Matteo Jorgenson at Paris-Nice. Now, this is a guy who has cycling in his blood. Like he grew up going to Europe with his family when he was too old to ride himself, but sitting in the trailer on the back of bike tours. He just lives and breathes.
Well, he's half Viking, half American, is that
Yeah.
right? His mum is Danish or Norwegian.
And, well, when we looked him up
Dad's
before, Merckxy goes, he's a ranger.
Well, yeah, that was not
Sorry,
for the show, but
Mate, nothing's sacred around here. You know that. Whatever comes out of you, mate, there's no editing and you're not allowed to edit that out either.
Sozzy, babe. Look, he's a really exciting rider. He's 190 centimetres tall, so he's taller than your usual Grand Tour rider.
Huge.
But then he wins races like Paris-Nice, but Dwars door Vlaanderen, so he can ride the one days, he can ride on cobbles, he climbs really well. He went to Paris-Nice. They were looking to ride with Visma Lease bike, of course, for Jonas.
Yeah.
Jonas didn't like the cold. Fair enough. We discussed that. And up steps Matteo Jorgenson.
It's kind of like Visma have been grooming him to take over when the rain ends. I mean, they've obviously they've had a lot of forward thinking with how good this kid is. Like, he's a monster. He's such a big fella who can, and you're not necessarily do you see so many riders come out and win one-day races in Belgium and then also win Paris-Nice. He can do it all. And I did hear some talk this week around him potentially being able to win the Tour de France because he's so young.
Well, he was top 10 last year. I mean, I would think given his progression that you'd have to look at him. And it would be really course dependent, right? Because if he's such a different frame to your Jonas's or your Remco's, really depending on whether they can ditch him in the mountains.
Well, they didn't ditch him in Paris-Nice, and the mountains are the same mountains. Yes, they're a bit more towards Provence and that southern end of France, but in the high mountains, if he's running top 10, that's probably 15 minutes behind Pogacar, right?
Yeah.
So,
behind who?
Behind Pogacar.
Podgy.
I'm just trying to remember. Who was the last American to win the Tour de France?
There was a gentleman by the name of Lance Armstrong who won a few, remember? Yeah. He won 5.
Floyd
apparently.
Landis.
Floyd Landis, yeah, he won one as well.
Yep.
We got to do a show on that guy one. We got to get him on
Floyd.
the show. Oh my God, that's a half an hour to an hour podcast just on his life.
Could be longer. He's got such an interesting story. He's an interesting character.
Yeah, I seriously reckon that they need to make a movie on him. It'd be way better than anything Lance would do. And we'll maybe talk about him at a later date, but he's a legend.
It's like the villain or the scapegoat.
No, he's not. He's not the villain. But
a lot of people think he is, right? That's my point.
Yeah, okay, he put a bit of testosterone on his nutsack, but hey, listen, that's all he got done for.
Hold on, wait, sorry. Is that literally where he put it?
Yes. That's apparently what happened.
I feel like I should know that.
No, just...
I'm not disappointed I didn't, but now I do. There you go.
But you have to have the whole story behind him.
For YouTube, could you give us, how did he do it? I'll just zoom in.
Definitely not going to rub anything on my personal nutsack.
Last week we already talked about deep heat being applied to, can't even remember what Joel called it. Same region. He's Tiddlywink or something like that. Nether region. Joel Spreadborough, he'll be back next week. So we're holding the fort here.
We are holding the fort.
If you're watching, you'll be able to see a very beautiful piece of jewellery that you've brought in.
It is kind of jewellery,
Hank,
isn't it?
Could you describe it for us for our audio listeners?
Yes, that's the Factor VAM Ostro black chrome carbon laid up, beautiful black ink wheels with Durace group set, integrated black ink handlebar setup, 6.8 kilos of pure joy, fastness, speed and elegance. That one, that's the flagship bike.
Look, asking for a friend, if I'm carrying an extra 6.8 excess kilos, do I need to diet or should I just get a bike like this?
No, just get one of them and that'll fix everything.
It's so good.
Is it a 54 by any chance?
It's a 52, mate. But you can jack the seat up.
Okay, thank you. I'm really grateful.
You can put the seat up.
It'd probably work actually for Merckxy's Dimension. We're going to talk about where this bike is going a little bit later because ProVelo is coming to a head. It's very exciting. The race is still wide open to get that World Tour contract, but there have been a few World Tour races over the weekend. Let's very quickly go to Tirreno, Adriatico, because Paris-Nice, we've seen what Jumbo-Visma, how they're preparing for the Tour de France, what their options are.
Yes.
Over on the coast in Italy at Adriatico, where they win that beautiful pit. What's it called?
It's a trident.
Trident.
It's one of the best trophies in sport, of all sport.
It is. Can't believe I was going to call it a pitchfork.
Yeah, no.
That's sacrosanct.
Is it the devil's trident? You know the devil that stands on...
it's from Poseidon, isn't it?
You know the devil on the side of the road in the Tour de France. Last 35 years he's been standing there.
Yeah, is that called a trident? I don't know.
We used to ping bottles at him. That's so nasty.
It is nasty. Didi, his name is.
We're trying to give him a water bottle, but some got carried away. A legend of the sport. But anyway.
Back
Tirreno.
on the coast, we're getting a bit of an understanding of what UAE are doing because Ayuso, who took the spoils there, that's another option for UAE. More excitingly, though, Michael Storer. He did pretty well.
In the horrible, filthy conditions.
But that was back in Paris-Nice. I'm getting my races confused now. But let's duck back to Michael Storer because that was epic.
Oh, another WA kid, so quiet. Just to ride everyone out the wheel on the last climb to win solo. He's a man of not many words. But he just, when it's tough, like he won 3 stages in the world one year when it was incredibly hot. He's now won in 2 degrees in snow, riding away after 160 kilometres in the mountains. At this time of the year, he's obviously in really good nick. What a great signing for Tudor. He had Alaphilippe actually riding for him, which when you think that's unbelievable, right? He's doing a full chop off to the bottom of the climb until he can't ride anymore. And that, massive respect for him too, because he's been multiple world champion. He's the biggest signing that team's ever had. He's going to get him a start in the Tour de France. He knows he's not quite there, ready for the classics, but he knew that he had a great climber in Michael Storer who could finish it off. And how'd you be sitting on his wheel if you're Michael Storer going, we've got this bloke who's probably the best rider in the last 15 years in one days with, a smattering of 3 or 4 others doing the job for Michael Storer. So, yeah, unbelievable ride. Great to see Aussies actually doing so well in these early season races where we've, historically have been so strong in the classics over the years. Matthews and, Bate and Cook, Stuart O'Grady, that whole crew were unbelievable at this time of the year. So it's great to see not just the Michael Matthews of this world, having another young kid coming up through. And O'Connor also was a bit dark. He threw a bit of a tantrum this week after getting, he hasn't got a handle on his emotions. He's obviously a bit pissed off that they stopped the race that day. I'm not sure if you saw that, Kate. Did you see him getting into the bus?
Yeah, look, there's been so much chat over the last couple of seasons about his ability to regulate his emotions, and I think it's probably his biggest challenge.
Right? I think it is too.
And no judgment on him for that, because everybody has,
however you want to handle it, right?
Handles it differently, and some are naturally a little bit stronger in that area than others. But it's pretty consistently being highlighted as something he needs to work on.
Why does he have to work on it though? Like, look at John McEnroe or the racket smashers. Like, do you have to work on it?
No, I agree with you. Like, fair enough. Like, you want to show your emotions, right? Like, but for the sponsors,
team, I guess.
the sponsors probably wouldn't like it. Like having a €2 million rider coming into your team, and you've got all these really proper sponsors, and he's yelling, profanities coming into the team bus, and that probably doesn't go down too well with him. But he's human. Like, who are we to sit here? And I've sworn 1,000 times, actually about 400 on this show. So it's we're all human, and I suppose that's the way he kind of releases his emotions. And so what? But I think he can get him into trouble as well. Like in some respects, he can get him into trouble by being so emotional. You've got to be level-headed as a pro. You need to, there's another day to fight, save that energy. As I used to say to my riders, like, remember that, put it in the bank, it'll gain interest later. So use that as motivation for the next race, for mentoring, so save it up, like you got to move forward. If you keep thinking you're going to go, what happened, what should have, what could have, I was just going to say something even more rude then. Like, actually, screw it, why not? If your auntie had balls, she'd be your uncle. So, but, he's obviously in good nick too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in kind of the Ardennes Classics. But, what is his program moving forward? Is he going to do the Liège and the Amstels, or is he just completely wholly solely, concentrating on the Giro and the Tour de France?
Well, the question marks. And I think you're right. Like, who are we to judge? Absolutely not. I've had a dummy spit or two in my day. We all have. But I think for him on a personal level, it would be
his first result.
It would be something quite helpful for him to be able to feel a bigger sense of calm, because, like you point out, Merckxy, like your McEnroes, even Kyrgios, like they make a thing out of being angry men or emotionally a bit dysregulated. But a Tour de France, 21 days when you are absolutely at the limit, any energy that's going into that or that's going from your teammates who are walking on eggshells because they know you're a bit of a firecracker, that's where I think it can bite.
Oh, I'm sure he gets along with his teammates really well.
Oh, because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's just about, them wanting him to feel
Come
calm.
on, mate, let's move on. You know what I mean? Like getting someone around him. And you know what? He goes so well in the third week of all the Grand Tours. Have you noticed that? He seems to, in the first 10 days, lose a bit of time, maybe go out of GC. And then, that Tour de France a couple of years ago where the Netflix special was in him, he was unbelievable in the last week. He kind of completely redeemed himself over... from them being, all right, we're going to try and win the Tour de France with AG2R, Citroën, or whatever the team he was with at the time. He's if he can keep his emotions in check for that first part, it might be more effective. So, yeah.
We love it. We love Gluzio O'Connor. Yeah. And I think Michael Storer, we can add him to the list of statues. What do you reckon, Merckxy? Because Basil, who was the mayor of Perth, he's now a member of Parliament.
Yes.
Yeah, so look, hopefully, maybe he's got even more influence to get us a statue.
How many statues we got going over there? Durbo's got one, or we should have one.
Well, he should have one. I don't know whether it's
Lutzi.
like separate statues or whether it's like a boy band.
I don't think that'd go down too well.
No, and then you could add more members in as they kind of.
Were they
going to
put it outside the track?
I think they should.
mid-rail speed dome?
Come on, that's out of the middle of Whoop.
Yeah, true.
No, put it up in Kings Park where they had the Nationals.
Have you heard over there they're going to put in a criterium track? Right next to the Crown Casino, they are putting in a V8 supercar track on the river in Perth, right? And what they want to do is they're going to put inside with the stadium and everything on the river, right next to Optus Stadium. This is pretty cool. I mean, this is all politics, so depending on which government gets in and happens, whether it happens or not. But they want to put in a V8 supercar track on the river, right next to Optus Stadium, with a criterium track inside it, like fully seated. So that's a bit of exciting news out of WA.
It is. And that follows the crit track here, the beautiful new redevelopment out at Muraree.
I haven't been there. I've got to get down there for sure. And
it's beautiful.
Have a look at it. So,
I mean, Balmoral, they're such a strong club. They've done so well. We saw Team's Time Trial this week. Astana had different coloured socks on. I don't know if you saw this.
Yes,
rainbow socks. So normally,
that upset you?
It didn't upset me, but I did query.
HD a little bit?
I did query, like, why are they not matching? I like matchy. Apparently, Alex Dowsett, who's fantastic time trialist, he's now a performance engineer over at Astana. He did it because the guys, when they're really in the zone, weren't identifying each other. And so when they had an order for how they should be and who was, maybe dropping off or doing longer turns or whatever, and they're in aero, so they're looking down.
Only looking, yeah.
To identify by socks.
Wow. That's actually quite genius. Good on him. Because that only someone who could actually have done an event like that could come up with an idea behind that, I reckon.
Well, it makes me think, like, they put so much focus on these really high-tech stuff, and that's so simple. Like, wear different coloured socks. Like, hey, Alex, we can't tell who each person is, and that really stuffs us around. Wear different coloured socks. It's kind of like the simplicity is genius.
And because team time trials, people's miss turns all the time, or, like people think, okay, I started behind Ganna, or whoever you started behind, so that's him. You'd know it's him anyway because he's gigantic. But, yeah, everyone looks the same with the same kit. So, yeah, that's actually a smart little move.
Kate hates the team time trial, Hank.
I do.
I love it.
I loathe it.
I like it too.
I'm Games gold medalist in the team time trial.
You're biased.
Of course he loves it.
You've got beautiful memories attached to Team's Time Trials.
So good. Who can suffer the most for the longest?
Oh, 100K, wasn't it?
100K. And we did it with like light speed bikes with like their road frames with 26-inch forks with the Ghibli rear disc. And we did like 100K in 1 hour 53. So, yeah, it was ridiculous.
See, I'd be all up for a tandem Team's Time Trial.
So you could just
like
stop pedaling on the other person.
3 sets of pairs.
Right.
Oh, yeah, but then...
Would you have Benny Hill music playing?
You'd kind of have to. But if you had Podgy on the front, right, you'd think, he's got the horsepower. Except the tandem would weigh a lot, and you've still got to carry your mate. So the other one, who's sitting on the back of a tandem with Podgy not pedaling?
Oh, yeah. Hey, got a question for you because you're a bit of a track guru, Kate. You know the tandems, in the sprint, do they go faster than the normal sprinters with 2 people on them?
No.
They don't, do they?
No, but they go pretty close.
They go pretty close?
Yep.
So even with 2 sets of legs on the one bike, they still don't go faster than a single rider?
No, but a lot of the issue on the velodrome in terms of speed, especially for flying 200s and whatnot, is actually being able to hold your position on the track. And
with the tandems, they can't stay on the black line.
Well, it's not the same. No, they're not able to. You don't handle the G-forces in the same regard. And it's an interesting question and point, broader talking point, because at the Olympics last year in Paris, they were talking about their concerns around gearing, because they were starting to use just bigger and bigger gears and go faster and faster and faster. But that was actually getting quite dangerous because of the speed that they were going through. Like
You're never going to be able to temper speed in this sport.
Well, no longer does a motorbike for a flying 200 go faster than a rider.
That's crazy, isn't it?
You know, and so that's a turning point, and that's what the tandems go up against. But it'd be really interesting actually to talk to one of the vision impaired riders what their experience is like. Because Jess Gallagher...
Maybe we should just do it and close our eyes.
Oh, God. Jess Gallagher commentated at the Paralympics last year with McGrory, and she's vision impaired, so she couldn't see. So he would describe it and she would then talk through the experience having done it. It was the most immersive commentary I've ever listened to. It was fantastic.
Oh, unreal. Our old mate nearly broke the 9-second 200 metres.
Who's our old mate?
Richo nearly beat 9 seconds. That's something hard to believe,
He did. They had a World Cup in Turkey on the weekend. He's riding for Great Britain, of course. He did a ripping job. They won the team sprint, new national record. So, yeah.
9 seconds? He's going to beat it, isn't he? He's going to be the first to go under 9 seconds. I would have to think that he's just getting quicker and quicker. My
understanding, and don't come at me if you're a engineer, sports scientist, aerodynamicist. Don't come at me. I'm going to preempt it. But my understanding is that because of his shorter stature, when they are going those maximum speeds...
It's more aero.
And when they're talking about the G-force, it's better for him.
So he's more aero?
So, well, I don't think it's strictly aerodynamics. I think it's more about the force and the angle that they're riding on in the velodrome. But... Jesus. There is quite a size differential between some of the riders. You've got
Harry Levrayson is twice the size of Richo, right?
Yeah, he is. He's closer to 2 metres.
Guys, I just want to check something. I'm just checking. Does Hank have a rundown?
He doesn't have a rundown.
No.
No.
Sorry. We just go on tangents on this.
We are, but I'm going to bring it back around. Track Nationals is next week for anybody in Brisbane, or you can tune in on KO or online. You can check that out. Let's head to good one, Merckxy. Let's head to Italy for the Trofeo Binda. A beautiful race. It's a World Tour race. Elisa Balsamo won. It's the 3rd time she's won there. It's just a beautiful, perfect race for her. Now, picture this. Coming into the final kilometres, you've got a break of 4 riders. You've got Puck Peters, who's a fantastic cyclocross rider. Longo Borghini.
This is on gravel, right, this race?
No. It's not on gravel.
Not on gravel?
No,
okay.
It's just a beautiful by the... comes
Tuscan.
down to the lake.
Tuscany, I think.
Vollering. And then Colonel from Liv Alula-Jaco. Quote from Demi. It's a shame none of the breakaway had the full commitment to stay ahead of the sprint team. They got caught in the final finishing straight by the sprint teams.
Oh.
And she didn't get anywhere.
Boo. Effing who? She's not doing herself any favours, is she? She's such an incredible rider.
But what comes with being such an incredible rider is people don't want to ride with you.
Of course not.
Because they're out there to either win themselves or win for the team. So, like the rider from Liv Alula-Jaco, for example, they had Letitia Paternoster sitting back in the bunch, who's Italian, home race, can win it. Why would you help Demi?
Who actually won it? What the sprinters did end up getting it?
They did, yes. Elisa Balsamo.
Balsamo won it, okay.
She won it. And 3rd, interestingly, was Kat Ferguson, who's in her first year in World Tour. She was the youngest ever signed rider. She was signed as a first year under 19.
American?
No, British.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And people actually only knew that she'd signed because she rode Junior Worlds as a first year junior on a Movistar bike. And people were like, curious. But in the World Tour and already getting on the podium, it's pretty exciting.
Well, it is cool. But going back to Demi, she's got to pull her head in a bit, doesn't she? I know, I mean, maybe it's just it's a pity, off the cuff kind of mark, but she could come across as really bitter about that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's in context.
No, it's not in context.
Is it out of context or it's in
context?
It's
in context. She wrote that on her LinkedIn.
Shits. Fully the shits.
So it wasn't that she didn't say that post-race when it was, in the heat of the moment. She typed that onto LinkedIn.
She typed it onto LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
What?
LinkedIn.
Is she looking for a job?
LinkedIn.
Isn't that where you go when you're looking for a job or like trying to do business?
For the
Why
corporate
can't
world.
she do Snapchat or something else like everyone else does in this whole era?
I don't know. I mean, there was a post above it, also ostensibly from her, but I think that was probably from her social media team because it was very proper and very set out and had all the hashtags. And then sliding into the comments
Into the DMs.
was her with that comment.
Oh, God.
So I think she needs to shift her expectations because if she thinks with her capabilities,
Everyone's just going to ride
people
her
are going to
the finish
ride
line.
her to the finish line.
Well, she's got
I
enough
don't think
opportunities
so.
to ride them all out the wheel. She's just got to, maybe have a think about like when to use that kind of, those comments after a race because, yes, she is the best in the world and she is going to ride people out the wheel and she is going to win a lot of big races. But, like, of course, she's got to understand, she's been a pro for years now, that every DS, like, you don't go off at your breakaway. You get, like, the DSs in the car are telling girls what to do. They're being told what to do. It's not like them.
I would like to see her come out and say, nobody rode with me because I'm so damn good.
Yeah,
I get it.
Then
Like,
everyone
I'm so
is
good, I
get on
get
the
it.
Demi
Love that.
bloody bandwagon.
All right, let's head to Grafton.
Is that next on the
Or
rundown?
it is. Or Inverell, actually, because they finished in Inverell. They started in Grafton, ProVelo League, the penultimate race. But this weekend, Q Tour in Queensland. Very creative name for that race, the Q Tour.
Queensland Tour.
Queensland Tour. We have, in both the men's and the women's, a
Bit of a showdown.
height finish. So Tristan Saunders won Grafton to Inverell, Gina Ricciardo. But the real story in the GC, we're looking at Sophie Ma and Talia Appleton,
Close.
who, P.S., ride for the same team, Pratties. Either of them could win this. Either of them could get that World Tour contract and the beautiful factor,
With Shram Red.
right? Oh,
Of which I'm going to be there to
present
present
it.
it on
Wow.
Sunday morning.
How is that team meeting? And then over in the fellas, Jack Ward, now he didn't ride Grafton to Inverell.
You know why he didn't?
He was too busy winning a national championship on the mountain
What a
bike.
legend.
Oh, he's so talented, right?
Hey, what a legend. I've got the lead. I'm just going to go win a national title, come back and crack on in the Q Tour.
Well, so he's
weekend.
on 381 points. Zach Marriage is on 338 points. Completely open. 100 points still up for grabs if you win the Q Tour, plus 20 points per stage, plus 24 for the QOM, KOM. So there's tons of
and
points.
then you get points for second and third in stages.
Yeah.
So it's
So
going to
that's-
be there's going to be a bit of work.
So it's Team
the team
Brennan presented by TP32. That's
They've
who
been
Jack
so good,
Ride,
that team.
Jack Ward is riding for. They are, and it's great to have Brennan investing. Dave Brennan is an excellent masters rider in his own right. It's an IT company. Wonderful to see them putting some money into the sport. And then Zach Marriage, he rides for Butterfield Zip Track.
Good rider. Very good rider.
I'm going to put something controversial out there.
Okay, go.
In the women's,
Throw
whether
yourself
it
under the
is-
bus. Go.
Oh, God, this is actually on camera. Whether it's Sophie Ma or Talia Appleton, having the opportunity with a World Tour team would change the trajectory of their careers so noticeably, right? Jack Ward or Zach Marriage. Jack Ward, given his prowess on a mountain bike, given the mountain bikers who have come before him and gone on to be the most incredible road racers, hello, Cadel Evans, Australia's only Tour de France winner, I feel as though, regardless of whether Jack Ward wins ProVelo or comes second,
I know what you're going to say next.
he'll get a contract.
He will.
Zach Marriage, he's on the edge. We know how talented he is.
He deserves a contract.
There's so many people in Australia advocating for him internationally saying, you want to sign this young guy. He's incredible. Take a look at him. But
Hasn't.
because he's on the edge, this would be life-changing for
No,
him.
you're right. I totally agree with everything you've just said there. Like Jack Ward, I believe,
I don't regret it being on
may
camera.
actually never even go to Jayco as getting a World Tour contract because he may actually get a better offer from another team. I totally agree, but I think Zach is a pure road rider. Like he can climb, he can time trial. He's kind of slight build, so good in the mountains. Not really a classics rider at all. That's why wouldn't you wouldn't sign him for that? But I think he deserves a contract. He's been one of the best in the last couple of years. We tried to sign him in ARA a couple of years ago, but he's stayed with Bridgelane. They haven't managed to get him a contract, but he's kind of just been on the edge of getting one, like you said. So, I hope both do. They both deserve it. They both deserve it. And Sophie I don't know much about Talia, but I know Sophie, and I know that she was picked out of a talent ID program, and just pure raw when she was with us, like really kind of was learning how to be a cyclist, and now she's like right at that point where she pretty much deserves a contract.
They're both really
JK.
young. I mean, Sophie's really adaptable. Like she's really good on the track. She's got a really great attitude about it and is a real go-getter. Talia Appleton has so much natural talent in there that in the moments where she really shines, you're like, wow, she's got a little bit to learn. They're both so young. That's where a world tour
maybe
opportunity.
JK will sign both.
They should. I reckon they should.
Maybe they will sign. And they're always looking for good young Aussies, and they always do seem to take, in the last 10 years, they've always taken one or two of the best. So really it's a confirmation that of what they've always been doing. But, maybe this year, because both marriage and, Jack, I don't reckon Jack will even be on the market at that stage.
I mean, what a wonderful, wonderful
place
stamp.
to be in.
Well, and gold star for ProVelo. Like that they've got, these are the people, because it is a bit of a risk. It's like Aussie Nationals, when sometimes somebody completely out of the blue wins, who doesn't have a pro contract, who's not going to take it to Europe, and you're almost like, well, wow, that's exciting, but
like Pete McDonald when he rode for Trapak.
And what a deserved winner, right? But exactly.
Oh, yeah, legend ride.
All of these riders who are vying for the win at ProVelo are like absolute, couldn't get better.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean, I'm going to be in the team car to see this showdown on Sunday. Curbs doesn't know it, but I'm getting in at the start line.
Yeah.
In the ARA team. Sorry, Curbs, if you're listening to this, mate, I'll be at the start line. I have a coffee for you.
Yep. If you could bring some snacks, what kind of snacks
that'll be
do you
my
need?
job.
Oh, your job.
Yeah, I'll bring some snacks for Curbs.
Curbs, let us know what snacks you need, and we'll make sure Hank brings them with a coffee. And both of the winners will get one of these beautiful
they get a
factors.
SRAM Red. This bike here, they'll be taking this bike home. It's also a $15,000 to $18,000 bike which they get to take home. Whether they sell it and split it with their teammates is another thing. That's none of my business. They can do what they want with that. But I wouldn't be giving it to anyone. I'd be riding it away as quickly as possible.
That is a problem for somebody else. Before we go this week, we've got to talk about Milan San Remo.
Milano-Sanremo.
La Primavera Rossa for the women.
God, such a beautiful race.
The women's is back. I'm so excited the women's is back.
I can't believe they took it away. Why would they do that?
20 years in the wilderness for the
how
ladies.
Many? 20 years.
20.
Jesus.
I rode the last one. It was fantastic. Is that anybody important calling, Hank? Can we say hi? Hi to anybody? Hi, Mum.
It's Curbs. He just heard.
Say hi to your mum for me. What am I, Rove? Right, so we have the men's. We have the women's back this year.
What did you come when you did it, Kate?
Thank you, Merckxy.
Yeah.
I came 25th.
Yeah.
Oh, you did better than I did.
Was my best result. And I was in a bunch. There was a winner, solo, and then 26 seconds and a 90 wood, and then another 3 seconds and a bunch of 20-odd, 25 of us. And
how long was yours?
120K.
You start in Geneva.
Yeah.
Just on the coast there.
Yes, but God, it was magnificent. And I was so upset that they took it away because I'd done it a number of times before and come like 70th or 60th. It was my first year that I made it over with the bunch, albeit a solo rider went off the front. But I was too fried to sprint.
Oh, so you're doing a sit-down sprint?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I was lucky to kind of even hang on in the last couple of 100 metres for the same time. I was so fried. But I went away from it going, I could be on the podium in the next 1, 2, 3 years because if I've now proven I can get over that Poggio, and then they bloody took it away. Arse hats. Anyway, I'm excited about it. But what it does show, I was not a climber. I was not friends with mountains, but I packed a lot of power.
And the power climbs are unbelievable.
And I got over the Poggio.
The suppressor and the Poggio.
And
Did you go over
the
the suppressor, the Berta, Kappa Berta, the suppressor, and then the Poggio?
Exactly. Oh. So bear in mind, if I could get over that, if Caleb Ewan's been on the podium a number of times, Matt Goss, he won for the Aussies, Michael Matthews, of course, Simon Gerrans, like this is a really great race for the Aussies and the kind of attributes Aussie riders have. But Poggi is going out there saying Poggio's going to be king of the Poggio.
Has he come out and said that?
Well, look, social media has. We're going to say that he has. He's thought it, Hank.
He's not winning.
Okay. I say that about him all the time. Surely this isn't his thing. And then he bloody goes and wins.
No, I know that he can do 630 watts for 8 minutes, as we saw last week.
That's not enough for the 3.7K of the Poggio.
And that's what was going to be my point. Van der Poel, I reckon, has more power. Filippo Ganna was exceptional last week. I think he's in his home race. I've just got a feeling that he's going to, do a late attack. He was very close to following in the last couple of years, and he's been there for the win. So I'm putting him up there as a top 3. So, and then we've got, the Aussies who are going pretty good. Like, imagine if Caden and Matthews has been bloody good there every single year. He's been amazing in that race. So, I don't think it's all she wrote with Pogačar here this weekend.
Well, Philipsen won it last year. He's a pretty big unit.
Yeah, exactly.
If we look
sprinters can win this race.
The women, Ruby Rose McGannon,
yep.
She would be a really big chance because we mentioned last week.
That's her thing.
People are not quite looking at her yet. She's kind of just outside the periphery, and I think she could go a little bit unnoticed.
I really hope so. Because she's not the big name yet. So going under the radar is a good term for her this weekend. That's for sure. Because everyone looks at World Rainbows and Demi Vollerings and Kopecki's, and they don't necessarily watch those grey shorts and purple tops, do they?
Not yet.
They're looking at the big names.
Can Demi be a good lesson that things change once you achieve all that? You have to ride differently. People treat you differently in terms of whether
you're marked
man or
woman.
I'm excited. What about you, Merckxy? Are we going to have a very, very late Saturday night watching both the ladies and the fellas?
Or highlights the next morning.
Fun fact, most top 10 wins in the men's race, Bling.
There you go.
Bling Matthews. Yeah.
All time?
Yep.
All time? Wow.
Time.
I got a story about Milan San Remo.
Do you?
I'm not sure if the general public want to hear this, but I'll say
I've got a meeting in 3 minutes. So,
all right, so
off you go.
I can't remember what year it was, but I was riding next to Jens Voigt, and we were about 2/3 of the way into the race. We were doing 55k an hour going through one of the 100 towns that you go through, and we saw a motorbike crash on the right-hand side, right in front of us. And then we looked left and we saw a leg.
What?
Detached from a body.
What?
And then we saw an elderly woman in the gutter with one leg. And Jens and I looked at each other.
This is not the story I thought you were going to tell.
Yes. And Jensie and I looked at each other and said, we just kind of shook our head and both of our heads went down, and I just didn't have it in me for the rest of the day. And we did find out that she passed away in the race. So a spectator got hit by a motorbike, and because it wasn't a rider, it wasn't really publicised that much. But it's pretty gross, and it's stuck with me forever. Whenever I think of Milan San Remo, when they're riding along, it's the most beautiful road you can do a race on. It is magnificent, but people just take too many risks trying to get in front of motorbike scouts. Come from the bunch to the break. They're always moving through the bunches, and someone just decided too late that they wanted to come and got cleaned up by a motorbike. So that was a horrible thing that I remember with Milan San Remo. But it is the most beautiful race to watch. It just gets faster and faster and faster, and then the best man wins. So what they always say. The easiest one to finish, the hardest one to win.
Yeah.
Easiest one to finish, hardest one to win, because the speed just gets faster and faster.
May the best man and or lady win.
And also the only race where you have to put your brakes on going uphill through the corners, otherwise you run into a wall.
Yeah, I actually said that to Merckxy. He was like, describe the Poggio to me. And I said, one of the really curious things about it is the hairpins, where if you're too far to the edge of the road, you'll literally hit a building. I said, there's no gutter. It's not that you'll hit a gutter. You will
just hit a wall.
Clop a building.
Straight into the wall. So you have to brake, and I've done it a couple of times where I've had to put brakes on. I mean, just think about that. You're going up a climb, trying to stay in a front group. You're going that fast. You're going over 40k an hour uphill. No jokes, no bullshit. And then you have to put your brakes on and then accelerate again. And this is good. This is why you can get away on the Poggio because of that.
It's a
stay tuned for that.
3.7k climb. It's still a proper climb. There's some pretty steep sections. Average is only just under 4%, but it's still a proper climb, but they go up there so damn fast. Thank you for joining us. And, there's been some randomness.
As standard for us.
As standard.
Standard stories, just, off tangent a bit, but, a bit of swearing, carry on, bit of...
Joel, we need you back to steer the ship. Thank you, Merckxy, for tolerating. Merckxy and I are going to ProVelo to have a squiz at South Bank.
That'll be great.
You'll be there to
That's
hand
be
the
awesome.
bikes out.
I got Kate. I got Kate into the Echelon Club, so I'm going to take her with me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Date night.
Yeah. I got her in.
How nice of you,
Yeah.
Maxie. Have you got a dog house at your house, by the way?
Not yet.
Do you have any dogs that sleep in dog's house? You got a pillow in there?
Do you know what I realised? I just realised I'm the only one who hasn't ridden Milan San Remo out of the three of us.
There's still
so
time.
Far.
Yeah, I never rode
Fellow
that race.
tours, mate. They do a classics tour. You can actually do Milan San Remo on one of their tours.
No, I'm here.
I mean, it's a 300k day. Maybe do the ladies course.
Okay.
It'll be lovely.
All
All right.
Good chat.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, family.
Yep.
Come see us
Do
at
that.
the...
Come and listen to us.
Actually, I was going to say come see us at the Echelon Club, but it's date night. Thanks, Merckxy. So, don't bother us.
And you'll be drunk anyway.
Oh, come on now. We'll be driving in or maybe riding our bikes in.
Oh, yeah, you're not far, are you?
No, not far at all.
Oh.
Go call that sponsor back.
Oh, well.
Thanks, Merckxy.
See you guys.
See you next week.
Bye.